My child, stop right now. Don't scroll past this. Don't brush it off. I am speaking to you personally, not to a crowd, not to whoever happens to be listening, not to everyone else. This is for you. I have reached you in the middle of your scrolling, in the middle of your thoughts, in the middle of your distractions, because I need your attention fully for just 1 minute. 1 minute, that is all I'm asking. And I'm asking with purpose, with urgency, and with love. What I am about to stir within your heart cannot settle while your mind is split in two. Stay here with me. Do not drift. I am not trying to shock you. I am not trying to manufacture emotion. I am speaking clearly because this moment is not ordinary, and it matters more than you realize. I know how fast you move on. I know how easy it is to say, "I'll come back later," and how quickly later turns into nothing. I know how skilled you've become at ignoring that quiet inner pull and choosing distraction instead, because distraction feels easier than stillness. That is why I stopped you. That is why I am calling you now. Give me 1 minute of your time, and give me your full attention. If these words are touching something inside you, stay with this moment. Do not rush past it. Let this message speak fully before you move on. This is urgent for your life, so listen closely. This kind of interruption is not common. I do not step into your moment like this without reason. I am not careless with time, and I do not waste words. When I stop you this clearly, it is because something is at stake. I am not joking when I say this. If you dismiss this moment, you may continue in the same patterns without realizing what you are missing. There is no standing still in this moment. You are either choosing to move forward with awareness, or you are slowly slipping deeper into numbness. I am not saying this to alarm you. I am saying it because love refuses to stay quiet when your heart is at risk of drifting. This message is not accidental, and it is not meant for everyone. Many will pass by without sensing a thing. Many will keep moving, unaware of the weight carried in these words. But you noticed. You paused. Something within you recognized that this was different. That recognition is not chance, it is alignment. Scripture says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." Jeremiah 1-5. And that same knowing is present here. This moment has not gone unnoticed, and I am present with you here. I have seen more of your journey than you realize, heard prayers you never spoke aloud, felt the weariness you tried to keep hidden, and watched you carry confusion on your own when you should not have had to. I know fear wants to surface now, the tightening in your chest, the instinct to pull back when something feels serious and close. Let that fear loosen its grip. You are not being accused. You are being drawn nearer. You are not in danger. You are being cared for. The urgency you feel is not a warning of harm. It is the signal of importance. It is the quiet truth that something valuable is happening and deserves your attention. This is not about religion. It is not about rules, rituals, noise, or performance. It is not about proving anything or fixing yourself. Set all of that aside. Scripture gently reminds us, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46-10. This is about awareness. This is about presence. This is about allowing your heart to wake up to what has been near you all along and choosing not to drift past it again. As you stay still for this moment, you may begin to notice that your life is still moving forward, your time is unfolding, and your heart has been holding more than it was ever meant to carry by itself. I am asking you to pause long enough to recognize that truth. Do not rush past this. Do not dismiss it as just another message. Do not allow distraction to take away what clarity is reaching out to place in your hands. I am not speaking lightly when I tell you that what you choose next matters, not because everything will fall apart if you turn away, but because you could miss the first breath of something that was meant to restore you. I see how tired you are, not only in your body, but deep within. I see how you've learned to keep functioning while slowly disconnecting from your own inner life, learning how to survive instead of truly live. I know why stillness feels heavy to you. I know why you keep moving, scrolling, staying occupied, filling the silence because silence brings thoughts you've been avoiding. But I am present in that stillness, not to overwhelm you, but to steady you. Scripture reminds us, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Heaven is fully attentive to this moment because this moment is about direction, not drama. You do not need a sign that shakes the sky. You do not need your whole life to change at once. What you need is awareness. You need to stay long enough for truth to sink in instead of bouncing away. That is why I ask for just 1 minute. 1 minute can shift the tone of a day. A single day can quietly redirect a life. I am not playing with your emotions, and I am not trying to hold your attention captive. I am offering you space to become present again. I am inviting you out of autopilot and back into awareness. Lately, much of your life has been lived on automatic, doing what must be done, saying what must be said, simply getting through the hours. But you were not created only to endure life. You were created to be alive within it. This moment is urgent not because something bad is coming, but because something good is trying to begin, and beginnings require care. Seeds do not grow when they are ignored. They grow when they are noticed, protected, and given room to breathe. Right now, something is taking root in you. Honesty, rest, clarity beneath the noise and pressure. Stay with this moment. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing slow. Let your mind stop running ahead. You do not have to fix anything right now. You do not have to make every decision in this moment. You only have to listen. And as you choose to listen, something begins the moment you truly listen. Not later, not after you feel prepared, but right now. This interruption was not accidental. It was purposeful. Space was created. Other things lost their hold so you could be here. Not because you are above others, but because you are seen personally. Love has always worked that way, close, intentional, attentive. I am not angry with you. I am not disappointed. I am not keeping score of your failures. I am watching your heart. I see the weight you've been carrying and how you've learned to survive instead of rest. I'm asking you to pause, not to fix anything, but to be present. This matters for your life because direction is shaped by small moments of awareness far more than by rare, dramatic decisions. If you pass this by, life will likely continue in familiar patterns. You'll tell yourself you'll slow down later, reflect later, listen later, and later quietly stretches into months, then years, until your own heart feels distant. I don't want that for you. This moment was meant for now, not yesterday, not someday ahead. Let it complete what it began. What unfolds next will not be loud or overwhelming, but it will be real. Pressure will begin to loosen. Confusion will start giving way to clarity. Numbness will soften into connection. 1 minute of honest listening can open a door that has felt shut for a long time. Scripture reminds us, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. Stay here. What you choose next matters. I do not interrupt without reason, and I do not draw your attention lightly. When I stopped you, it was because I saw where your heart was drifting, the weight you were about to carry without noticing, and the quiet ways you were beginning to disconnect from yourself. This interruption was deliberate and filled with mercy. You were close to drifting again, not toward something obviously harmful, but toward the slow, familiar distractions that feel harmless. Another scroll, another task, another hour slipping by without awareness. Those are the distractions that take the most because they feel normal. I saw you nearing that familiar escape. I saw your thoughts preparing to stay busy and avoid stillness, because stillness has been asking you questions you weren't ready to face. I saw how close you were to postponing yourself again, postponing honesty, postponing rest, postponing the moment you finally feel what has been building inside. That is why I stepped in. This is not punishment. This is protection. This is mercy arriving before weariness turns into habit. I interrupt because I love you too deeply to let you drift without awareness. I step in because I know where certain paths quietly lead long before you ever reach their end. Sometimes the greatest danger is not collapse, but slowly falling asleep to your own life. Interruption may feel uncomfortable, but love that never intervenes is not love at all. Love warns, love pauses, Love moves when silence would cost too much. If I allowed you to continue without interruption, nothing would fall apart right away, and that is exactly what makes it dangerous. You would keep going, telling yourself you'll slow down later, reflect later, listen later. And little by little, life would begin slipping past your awareness. You were not doing something wrong. I stopped you because you were about to miss something right, something necessary, something that could not wait. I saw the heaviness growing in you, weariness hardening into numbness, the space widening between your heart and your awareness. I saw how easily you were learning to live without checking in with your own soul, and I could not remain silent. There is mercy behind urgency. Urgency does not always mean danger is approaching. Often it means help has arrived just before damage becomes a habit. I speak with urgency because I care gently and act decisively. Love does not whisper when whispering would be ignored. Scripture reminds us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. I know you are not choosing distance on purpose. You are tired. You are overwhelmed. You are doing what you've learned to do to make it through the day. But survival mode slowly disconnects you from depth. It teaches you to live on the surface, because going deeper feels costly. I do not desire for you to remain disconnected from yourself indefinitely. This interruption is my way of saying, stop, look at where you are, look at how you are living, look at what you are carrying, not with accusation, but with care and clarity, not later, now. I speak urgently because I respect your life, your time, and the weight of your heart. Sensitivity dulls when ignored, and moments like this do not stay open forever. That is why I interrupt while you can still feel this. You may sense it now, not fear, not panic, but importance. This is not a casual pause or a passing thought. This is a deliberate moment where direction can shift quietly, yet permanently. I am not asking you to change everything at once, only to recognize that this moment matters. I am calling you to awareness now. You were close to letting another day pass without noticing yourself, another moment without listening, another chance for presence slipping away. I love you too much to allow that to continue. I would rather interrupt you here than have you wake up later wondering how you drifted so far without realizing it. This is why I stepped in, because you matter. Your heart matters. What you are becoming matters. You were not created to live on autopilot. Awareness opens your heart to the healing I bring, and healing cannot begin while you are distracted. Stay with this truth and let it settle. And because awareness is awakening, understand this now. You were not stopped by accident. You were interrupted by love. You have heard me before, not with this weight or clarity, but you have heard me. My voice has brushed your heart many times, gently and patiently, never forcing. I spoke in whispers because whispers draw you closer. I wanted you to lean in, not pull away. You heard me in small nudges that didn't always make sense, a pause before a decision, a quiet unease when things looked fine on the surface, a thought that kept returning even when you tried to dismiss it. That was not anxiety. That was discernment awakening, my gentle guidance drawing you closer. There were moments you sensed you should stop but kept moving. Moments you felt prompted to speak but stayed silent. Moments you knew change was needed but told yourself it wasn't the right time. You delayed because delaying felt safer than responding. You told yourself you would listen later when life slowed down, when things were clearer, when you felt stronger. I saw that. I understood it. I do not condemn you for those moments. I never did. I know how loud life becomes, how overwhelming responsibility feels, how easy it is to miss a whisper when everything else is shouting. You were not rebellious. You were tired. You were surviving. You pushed aside inner warnings, brushed off the tightening in your chest, convinced yourself you were overthinking. Sometimes you listened partially. You noticed the stirring but didn't act. Partial listening still hears, but unfinished things return. I am reminding you of this, not to shame you, but to show you my compassion and consistency. I did not stop speaking because you delayed. That is why I am speaking more clearly now, not in anger, not because you failed, but because whispers could no longer reach you through the noise. Distraction has grown stronger, so my voice has become firmer. Love adapts. Repeated calls are not rejection, they are mercy. I repeat myself because this still matters. Because the door is not closed. Because timing has shifted, and what could wait before cannot wait now. When something keeps returning to your awareness, it is not accidental, it is asking for attention. I do not repeat myself to pressure you, I repeat myself to protect you. There comes a moment when silence would cost too much, and love must speak clearly, even if it feels uncomfortable. You are standing in this moment right now, and I need you to grasp something essential. If you were able to hear me before, you are able to hear me now. You are not distant, you are not cut off, you are not beyond reach. Even the faint recognition of my voice means connection already exists, and it is relationship that allows urgency to feel safe, not threatening. You may notice regret rising when you remember moments you ignored what you sensed. Let that regret turn into awareness, not shame. Awareness sharpens discernment. Shame weakens it. I am not calling you to relive the past, but to learn from it. Those moments revealed where fear spoke the loudest and where trust still needed room to grow. Now I am asking you to listen fully, not halfway, to respond rather than postpone, to remain present instead of drifting. Not because I will stop speaking if you delay, but because repeated delay slowly trains the heart to stop listening at all. And I want your heart alive, sensitive, responsive, awake. I am still calling because I still want you close. I am still speaking because there is still time. I am still reaching because you still matter deeply to me. The firmness you hear now is not anger, it is clarity. It is love refusing to fade into the background. Let this call settle deeper than the others. You have heard me before, and you are hearing me now. What you choose in this moment will shape how clearly you hear me in the days ahead. I am here, not with judgment, but with hope. What is at stake is not punishment, and it is not my love. My love is steady and unchanging. What is at stake is alignment, sensitivity, the quiet shaping of your future that happens in moments like this, not through dramatic events, but through response or delay. Delay carries consequences for the soul, and I say this in truth, not as a threat. When something meant to be addressed is postponed again and again, the heart slowly adjusts to carrying unresolved weight. What once felt uncomfortable begins to feel normal. What once stirred you fades into background noise, until you stop noticing what your spirit has been trying to say. That is the real danger of delay, not sudden collapse, but gradual dulling. Delay does not make me leave, and it does not diminish my love for you. But it does affect how clearly you hear, how freely you move, and how deeply you experience peace. When you keep postponing what you already sense, clarity begins to blur. You start questioning what you once knew. Discernment feels uncertain. Distraction replaces direction. This is not punishment. It is consequence, like ignoring hunger until weakness sets in, not because food vanished, but because the body was not nourished. There are doors open to you right now that are tied to timing. Not every door closes with noise. Some close quietly by becoming less accessible. Opportunities for growth, healing, and realignment often remain open for a season, waiting for awareness. When awareness is delayed too long, the season changes. Nothing disappears all at once, but things become harder than they needed to be. Peace feels postponed, joy feels distant, life grows heavier than it should. I do not want that for you. Windows close as well, windows of sensitivity, courage, openness. When you stay aware and responsive, growth flows. When you keep saying, later, something inside learns to stay guarded. Guarded hearts survive, but they do not thrive. And you were not created merely to survive. I am not stirring anxiety. Anxiety never leads to clarity. I am awakening urgency without panic. Panic says everything will fall apart. Urgency says this matters now, while it can still be shaped gently. What is at stake is your sensitivity to truth, your courage to pause instead of numbing, your willingness to stay present instead of drifting. These capacities do not vanish suddenly, but they weaken when ignored, and restoring them later takes more effort than listening does now. The most important shifts rarely look dramatic. They begin within a choice to listen, a decision to stop avoiding stillness, a response instead of a delay. Those inner choices shape which paths remain open. If you pass this moment by, life will go on. That is what makes it tempting. But you will carry a little more weight, a little more numbness, a little less clarity. Over time, those small delays add up, and you may wonder why peace feels far away or direction feels unclear. I am not asking you to fix everything. I am asking you to honor this moment. Let it land. Let it shape your awareness. Choose listening over avoidance. One choice can shift direction. As Scripture says, "Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near." Isaiah 55:6. You do not need to rush. You need to stop drifting. This urgency is steady, not frantic. What is at stake is not my approval. You already have that. What is at stake is whether you continue moving forward unconsciously or begin walking with awareness and intention. Awareness brings freedom. Unawareness leads to repetition. I am speaking now because the door to awareness is open. Your heart is still responsive. You can still feel this moment, and you have not grown numb. That matters more than you know. Stay here in this clarity. Do not let fear rush you, and do not let comfort lull you back to sleep. Let urgency refine you gently. This is not pressure, it is care. What is at stake is the way your future unfolds, and I want that future lighter, clearer, more alive than it has felt in a long time. I see how distraction has quietly taken hold. It did not arrive loudly or announce danger. It came disguised as relief, a scroll to rest your mind, noise to avoid silence, constant motion so you would not feel what was building underneath. I see it all. I speak with understanding, not anger. Your days are crowded with sounds, images, updates, obligations. Even when your body rests, your thoughts keep running. You reach for your phone without noticing because stillness has begun to feel uncomfortable. Stillness asks questions you have not wanted to answer. You did not choose distraction because you are careless, but because you were tired and overwhelmed. Numbing felt easier than feeling, and I understand that. I am not disappointed. But hear this gently. Constant distraction dulls spiritual sensitivity. When attention is always pulled outward, inner awareness grows quiet, not gone, just ignored. Over time, it becomes harder to recognize my voice, not because I stopped speaking, but because the heart is rarely still enough to listen. Silence feels restless. Focus feels scattered. You feel disconnected even while busy. This is not failure, it is training. Distraction does not make you bad, it makes you numb, and numbness slowly steals awareness. You stop noticing what you feel, what you need, when something inside is asking for care. Life begins to feel shallow, even when it is full. You scroll not from interest, but escaping quiet, emotion, the sense that something needs to change. It feels harmless, just a moment, just a break, but those moments add up. I am not angry. I am calling you back to awareness. Awareness is compassion, the ability to notice without judgment, to see where you are without shaming yourself. You do not need to reject the world or live in silence. I am asking you to stop running from yourself. Notice when you reach for noise and gently ask what you are avoiding. Stay present a little longer. Return to stillness softly, not forced, not heavy. Stillness is space, where breath slows, thoughts settle, and feeling returns without overwhelm. Stillness is where I speak most clearly, not because my voice is weak, but because your heart is finally open enough to hear. In that stillness, you may realize this. I have been gently calling your attention through nudges and quiet discomfort, in that sense that more is available. Noise crowded it out. Come back to awareness now. Notice your breath. Notice your body. Notice what you feel without trying to fix it. You do not need all the answers. You only need to stop running for a moment. Let stillness feel safe again. I am here in the quiet, and I always have been. I am not waiting to accuse you, I am waiting to meet you, to remind you who you are beneath the noise, to restore the sensitivity worn down by constant stimulation and help you feel alive again, not overwhelmed. Distraction has kept you busy, but it has not made you whole. Stillness may feel unfamiliar at first. That does not mean it is wrong. It means it is healing. Let the noise soften for a moment. Allow awareness to return gently. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted, Psalm 34-18. Near, not threatening. You do not need to escape anymore. You are safe here. Hear this without fear, reshaping it, without old wounds translating it wrongly. What I am speaking now is not a threat. It is love. Urgency does not always signal danger. Sometimes it means care refuses to stay silent. Love draws close enough to interrupt. Fear shouts to control. Love speaks to protect. I know urgency can make your body tense. You've learned to associate it with pressure, punishment, or loss. When I speak firmly, part of you braces for condemnation. Release that fear. I am not here to threaten you. I am here to guard you. Urgency and fear are not the same. Fear says, act now or else. Love says, come closer, this matters. Fear pushes and panics. Love invites and clarifies. What I am saying carries weight, yes, but not harm. It carries care, attention, and protection. I warn because I love, not to frighten you into compliance, but because I see what you cannot yet see. I will not remain silent while you drift toward pain that was never meant for you. Silence in moments like this would not be kindness, it would be neglect. I am not a distant God watching from afar as my children struggle. I am present, and I speak when speaking is necessary. Throughout history, I have always warned those I love, not with cruelty, but with compassion. I warned Noah, not to frighten him, but to preserve life. I warned Lot, not to shame him, but to draw him away from destruction. I warned Israel again and again, not because correction pleased me, but because closeness mattered to me. Every warning carried an invitation to life, never a threat of punishment. And even when those warnings were ignored, my love did not withdraw. If this message spoke to your heart, take a moment and sit with it. Let it continue its work within you.